Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you by BB. A reminder, as always, that there is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about these markets. Happy Wednesday, guys. We are officially splitting the week right down the middle. If you're American, good morning. If you're a European, good afternoon. We're excited to bring you guys the coverage regarding all things markets once again. You guys know me as Snorlax, also as Tommy. I'm joined by Max, Tucker, and Dr. Will's Outlook. A reminder that we will be getting Jackus back hopefully next week from vacation. If you were here, if you follow him on Twitter, you already saw he's at this just absolutely beautiful place. I don't even know where it is, but I took a look at the picture of the beach that he posted, and I was like, wow, I kind of maybe I need a vacation. Maybe I need a vacation, but yeah, let's talk about markets here in a little bit. But before we can do that, guys, you know what I'm going to ask you real quickly before we get started. If you could be so kind as to smash that like button for us. It always goes a really long way. It always helps us out as a young growing channel. And look, we're coming up on 16,000 subscribers. If you've been here and watching Market Check for the last 6 to 8 months, you were probably here when we were at, around like 1,000 subs. So you've been a part of this channel growth just as much as we have as a business. So I wanted to shout out you guys, the audience, once again for attending. And as always, we appreciate your continued support of our brand. But I think the title for today's show is very appropriate, right? Because it was funny. Earlier this week, we were talking about the shift in behavior that we were seeing during New York, where the bankers were finally bidding after about 2 to 3 weeks within this range of doing nothing but kind of selling off on New York Open. We finally, had seen a change in behavior on Monday and Tuesday where the bankers were bidding our coins higher. Now today, we're kind of seeing a bit of a contrast to that. Obviously, we're, it's a lower time frame candle on Bitcoin, so we don't want to overreact or anything, right? But it is a New York Open sell-off. We've sold off about 1,000 points on the corn. Does this mean that volatility is coming? I don't know. I'm sure that's something that we're going to debate, though, later on this show. I know before we went live, we were talking about, our kind of ideal and optimal paths for Bitcoin here going forward. I think you'd probably prefer to see some sort of choppy bleed into the low rather than, just kind of a teleportation back down into retesting it. But we know that this market is very unpredictable. I mean, maybe it doesn't even return to the low, right? Like Tucker has drawn out. Does it stop at 62, 63K? These are levels to look at for a reaction, I think, as well. But yeah, I mean, Bitcoin is weak, but ETH Bitcoin is very green. I will admit, ETH Bitcoin is very green. And ETH, for a while, was also very green. It will probably be difficult for that strength to continue if Bitcoin is going to continue to dump. Especially if it dumps in a form of like chop and bleed, right? That probably would not be good for alts. Behaviorally, we've seen what that does to alts over the last year and a half. Those are typically weeks where Bitcoin dominance does ultimately tend to climb. Although we are getting a nice reaction here from a very big level on ETH Bitcoin. So I don't want to just completely ignore that. Even as, the self-professed ETH fudor. But, even despite that, we have meme coins that are outperforming over the last few days. Obviously, Pepe up 10 to 15%. The previous 2 days, WIF at one point was up 15 to 20% today. So what are people bidding off the low, guys? That's always what I say and what I always say to pay attention to. What are people bidding off the low? What do people actually want to buy? Not just on perps, but also with spot. People love their meme coins, man. The people love their meme coins. But for now, we're probably going to be selling off during New York as long as equities continue to see this bit of uncertainty. If equities are bottom, this is probably just chop on Bitcoin. Nothing to be concerned about. Can continue. If equities are not bottomed, obviously, we probably can expect a bit more turbulence on Bitcoin and in the crypto market in general. But I think these are important parts of the picture. But ultimately, I don't think that changes anything that we've said about something like the dollar, where the dollar is going to roll over in, I mean, more or less probably 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, maybe not I don't want to put too tight of a time frame on it, but it's going to roll over very soon, in my opinion, just looking at the structure. That will likely be favorable for risk assets wherever they are priced when that happens. That, in addition to the QRA, which I also want to talk about later on this show. Janet Yellen is once again going to put her hands or try to put her fingerprints on the market, and that will have some impact on risk assets as well. So although we are seeing some turbulence right now in markets, a little bit of difficulty in sticking the landings on some of these pumps, maybe continue ranging, I do think we have some positive catalysts coming down the pipeline here over the next few weeks. But I'm going to go ahead and open the floor up, guys. What are we seeing in the markets today? Happy Wednesday.
Yes. Hey, Tommy. Hey, everybody. Yeah, I mean, you summed it up really nicely, man. I think we could probably just end the show here. Like you covered everything. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. This was Market Check brought to you by Because Bitcoin. But yeah, it's just more chop, right? And actually this is exactly what I had asked for. I had requested and pleaded with if there were any secret billionaires out there watching Market Check, and I also talked to our Discord. If there's any secret billionaires in here, I'm begging you to pin the price of Bitcoin through the tail end of April. And the reason that I said that was, there's some concern about how many consecutive green months Bitcoin has had. People say this has never happened before, and I'm nervous. We've had 7 in a row. I said, guys, we just need to break this up. Let's just have like one sort of indecisive red month, and then we can get the show on the road, right? And we can show all of these sell in May, go away fudors that it's just sort of a funny little slogan or tagline. But I had requested that a billionaire, if they were watching, pin Bitcoin between 65 and 71, but don't let it get above that April monthly open. So this is exactly what I want to see, truthfully. What I don't want to see happen is some sort of like complacency shoulder and we roll over here, of course. That's certainly not my base case. But what I really do want to see is price pinned here for maybe another week or 2 weeks, and then we can talk about moving up, because I want to just break up all the consecutive green months. I know maybe it sounds a little bit silly, but the market does take note to these things. And I think it would probably be best to just close April slightly red with a nice monthly wick to the downside, and then we can rip this thing. Because again, we just had the Bitcoin halving. I think that too many people are, like really fearful of pullbacks while you're in constructive bullish price action. And in reality, I'm not just talking about Bitcoin, like healthy pullbacks, like slow, choppy pullbacks into high time frame levels should actually be welcomed. Like maybe Tucker, you could zoom out a little bit and go back to last bull market, even like the 12-hour daily, right? You don't even need to go back that much. Yeah. Let's look at last bull market quick. Like look at that first pullback on Bitcoin. First and last bull market, the first big pullback. It doesn't look that daunting now because we can zoom out and whatever, but that was a over 30% pullback, while in a bull market. And it took a while, it took weeks. I don't know. I think it maybe even took over a month. People are looking at, where we're at right now, and they're fearful and they're concerned. And, to them, I say, like, guys, this is nothing. Like you have to also recognize, like, if Bitcoin pulls back, like it has 15, 20% or whatever it is, your altcoins are going to get destroyed, and for example, Pepe, which sprung beautifully off of its most recent low, Pepe pulled back 63% from its all-time high or its most recent high into that low, 63% in 30 days. Okay. And now look at it, right? So it's like people want to hold an asset that has the potential to, gain 10,000%, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. If you want to hold an asset that has the potential to go up multiples, that volatility works both ways. And it's important to recognize that. If you don't appreciate volatility both to the upside and to the downside, or maybe I should rephrase that. If you don't understand that volatility works both ways, then go buy a bunch of T-bills, because you'll just earn, a slow stair step 5%, right? That's it. But if you want to hold something that has the potential to do 5, 10, 20, 100x from here, you have to be able to stomach the potential volatility of, a serious, like Pepe just had, 63% correction. And if it's a strong asset that the market deems, wants to support, then you will see an aggressive buyback in time, right? And it won't take that long. So again, I think it's just about kind of reshaping expectations with a lot of this stuff and going, Bitcoin's chopping. We just had the Bitcoin halving. Historically, after a Bitcoin halving, price, moves upward, up aggressively. It can take a little bit of time. There's typically a little bit of chop, but you need to shift your expectations and realize that this isn't a one-way street. This isn't a one-way market with anything, whether it's, Pepe or Bitcoin or any other project that you own. If you want to hold an asset because you think it can pull a 10x, then you need to have the stomach for a 60 or 70% pullback. For example, MOG, one of the leading meme coins or community coins this cycle, just had an over 70% pullback from its local high. And the structure of the chart looks good, right? So this thing goes up, 10x in a few months, and it pulls back 70%. I saw some people tweeting about it, saying it was, I have a different chart, Tucker, because that's on Uniswap. Mine, I was looking at on a SEX, and it did pull back 70. It pulled back 70%. Maybe just look at.
What'd you get,
Yeah,
Mexi?
Yeah, try that one. I don't remember what I was looking at, but yeah, so 70%. So it pulled back 70%. And people were ripping on him, being like, oh, the chart's perpetual bleed and it's doomed and it's down 70%. And I'm like, dude, it's up like 10x in like no time at all. That volatility works both ways. That needs to be known. That needs to be the understanding. These pullbacks with strong projects and strong communities, they should be welcomed. You should look at this time of uncertainty for Bitcoin as an opportunity to accumulate altcoins that have historically been strong this cycle so far. And there's some pretty clear winners so far that are, obviously the leaders of this bounce back. One of them being Pepe. Another one, I think this morning, WIF was up 15%. Ondo was up 10 or 12% this morning, right? So it's kind of the usual suspects. The projects that have been leading consistently all cycles so far are being the ones to garner the attention and the volume and the buyback strength. So again, your asset of choice, that's been a winner so far, pulls back during a time of uncertainty and correction for Bitcoin. Turn your brain off. Like, unless you think we're entering a bear market, that's a shove opportunity. So again, I just see a lot of people like not recognizing or not willing to, taper their expectations and tame their emotions around pullbacks like this. I'm like, seriously, like zoom out a little bit and recognize why it's happening and do something about it. Do something about it. This is when you bid strong altcoins, when Bitcoin pulls back a little bit and feels uncertain. This is when you reposition into strong altcoins right here. You don't reposition into strong altcoins after they're up, 5 or 6x. You do it when a strong altcoin pulls back 40 to 70% during a time of Bitcoin uncertainty. That's when you do it.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be uncertainty. Any pullback of 70 to 80% on a strong altcoin, whether the market is bullish or bearish, I think is an opportunity. And not to mention too, like I'm in full like the bearish camp, man. I'm hoping we get some more pullback here because I have some opportunities I want to dive into. I'm not one of
I
these
was
guys
about
that
to
say I
say, what
will.
are you talking about, bro? You are not. I was like, where's he going with this?
I'm in favor of more dumping. I need to get some more positioning. So I might have scraped a little bit too much off some of my plays that I wanted to reposition elsewhere, but I'm kind of seeing the strength and I'm like, man, I messed up. I shouldn't have repositioned those. Um, at the end of the day, like I think your conviction plays are your strongest plays. And your strongest play should be based off of structure and what you've got going on in the chart. When a market moves in on a coin, it moves all at once. And once it moves all at once, you've created a market for that coin. Doesn't matter if it has utility or doesn't have utility. And I think not enough people understand that or respect that. I will be a bidor if we can get more drawdown. I will be a bidor.
A bit
Um,
or
I'm excited, man. Like I'm anticipating the run up for Bitcoin when this thing actually does break out of this range. We talked about this too, like literally a month ago. And I was just like, dude, we're gonna probably just literally trade sideways for a couple months. And that's exactly what we're doing. And I'm okay with that. Again, I'm perfectly acceptable and okay with that. Um, we could sit here and range all day. People could sit here and speculate low 50s, whatever they want. I'm just going to speculate sideways price action above all time high of January, or not even January, but just the beginning of 2021 Q1. And I think we're going to remain holding that as a structure support and just continue to range against that to keep people bidding into shorts. And then once enough shorts pile in, I think that's when this market will take off. They just want the opportunity to absolutely obliterate anybody who was non-believers. In my perspective, the way that I'm seeing this market structure. So, yeah, Mog was a killer trade. I think not enough people looked at that. It was basically a falling wedge, very bullish, right? And nobody wanted to look at that structure. And then Tucker, if you could throw up the bull flag that's forming on Bitcoin, that structure is still holding too. And so, like, even if you were to come back to lows and you were to hold this bull flag, I would say what? I think we talked about it earlier, like 59K roughly would be the low.
Yeah, it'd be something like it'd be something like this, Will. It'd probably be something like that. So yeah, 58, 59, somewhere in there. Where I'd look for it probably.
Are there equal lows below, like
Yes,
right there?
there are.
Do we want to count those? Do we care about those?
I mean, it's not this one, it's really just these two, but I mean, that's what I was saying before. I mean, I bet that gets swept. That's what I was saying. 63K is kind of the line in the sand for me, right? Like if we lose 63, then I think we sweep these. But if we can hold 63, then I think you got a chance to set a higher low on like a 4
if you
hour.
just draw like a range here, like I feel like this is just our range low. Like 60K is our range low, roughly.
Yeah.
I just feel like we're just ranging, I don't think this is distribution. I think this is indecision. I think this is a cool off period. I think there is measurably muted volatility to the downside, since we now have all these ETFs. I wouldn't expect anything much. I've been saying the whole time, I think your worst case, even during the midst of the pullback for Bitcoin, was like 57.5. So maybe that's still on the table. It doesn't change anything for me. I don't know if it will happen or it won't. But in the past year and a half, Bitcoin hasn't had more than a 22% correction. And I don't really think we're going to get that unless black swans or like events aside. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to fade a year and a half long trend, which is that we haven't had more than a 22% correction on Bitcoin. I don't have an interest in making that call.
Not to mention, like, 60K has pretty much been the floor, right? Doesn't matter how many times we stab through it. It's been the floor for this overall trend, and I think not enough people are putting respect on that. They're just continuing to, oh, it's going to go lower. Oh, it's going to go lower. And I see my son JB has just joined the chat. We will never go under 60K again. Look, I understand I left when you were 5 and went to go get a gallon of milk and never came back. But I'm here now for you. Okay.
No, Tucker. No.
I'm sorry.
I've seen that fractal all over Twitter. I'm sorry to cut you off, Will.
The fail shoulder swing.
So okay, one much different time in the market, right? Like pull up Bitcoin dominance, mark out the Bitcoin halvings. Fractals, you can't take a naked fractal like this and say that this is going to happen, because the reason fractals work is because the context is also aligned, like where markets are positioned. You can't just take like a bearish fractal and apply it to an early stage bull market. I will not allow for that. I can't. I can't. If you're going to do it, you at least have to mark out where the Bitcoin halvings were on both. And you also have to put Bitcoin dominance below both, so we can contextually align what is being proposed here, which is a high time frame distribution. So if you want to do that, let's add on a couple more lines. Because I would like to refute this fractal live here.
Well, it is different though. It is different.
Hang on, leave that. No, leave it. Let's do this because I want to address this because people have asked me about this. They've DM'd me this. Let's mark out the halvings on both of these charts. Okay, so you have to zoom out a little bit.
I will. But look, let me show you how it's different first, though, because I agree. Contextually, it's different, and I'll mark out the halvings. Don't worry. But like, currently, you have this right here. You had this,
and you had a 3 drive high. You had a 3 drive high on the right side.
That this much one different. You had that. It's a different structure, right? You had 3 highs and then a lower high. This one you had a high, a lower high, a higher high, and now a lower. I mean, it's not identical, right? But just the shoulder scenario and like what happened. Isn't this when Luna happened, right?
What about the 590 days after every cycle?
No, that wasn't when Luna happened. Luna happened after the 69K top. That was just right. That's right. That was just a derivatives wipeout after everything bubbled, the first time.
Tucker, what about the 590 days of just straight upside after every single happening? What about that?
No, yeah, that's real. I mean, that's definitely real. Like, where's the halving here? 20, what was it, May sometime, right? It was May, wasn't it? Yeah, what was it, Friday the 19th? That was the halving. I mean, it's so screwed up because of COVID, man. I hate that. But
yeah, but I mean, just it's not even.
No, I understand that halving makes price go up. I understand this well. Trust me. I understand that after the halving is when we have a bull cycle. I understand.
I actually think the most compelling bear angle that I can find isn't even located on the Bitcoin chart. It's on MicroStrategy.
Tommy, I don't think it looks that bad, though.
I do. I think it looks
terrible.
Think
it really looks that bad?
That looks
man.
Damn bad, man.
That doesn't look bad, Lance. No. That looks like the Pepe chart, man. That looks like a retest of a previous all-time high, brother.
Yeah. What do we?
I think it can. Ideally, it's basing out above $1,000, but if you lose like 1,100, $1,000 is going to free fall, and then
I agree with that. You need to. Well, okay. So Tucker, could you draw a line on the complacency shoulder of last bull market for this chart? I think.
Oh yeah.
I think you could potentially go down to that level, and it would be really aggressive. Okay, we don't want that, but I think you technically are safe above that line. Okay. And mainly because if you look at how much more MicroStrategy went up versus Bitcoin, it's clear to me that there was a lot of like derivatives market, manipulation here and short squeezes going on, because there's no reason that MicroStrategy should have gone up as much percentage wise as it did versus spot Bitcoin. It should go up more, which is why I've been bullish on MicroStrategy. But if you just took a measured move on how much MicroStrategy went up so far this bull market versus Bitcoin, there was a short squeeze at play. So in my opinion, this is a healthy kind of like mean reversion that we're seeing right now, but you don't want to lose that white line right there. I think that's your like worst case scenario.
It looks like Bitcoin when Bitcoin was starting to bottom, to be honest with you. It basically came back, retested the high, basically in the same general area, and then rolled out.
I think it looks very different than Bitcoin.
No, hang on.
Not at all, bro. Like literally, look at Bitcoin's low and the 2017 high, and it's pretty much the same as that move on log.
We gotta. Do you say on MOG?
Log. LOG.
On MOG.
On MOG.
I was gonna say these.
We're mogging.
These look. This looks like MOG low key, but no, yeah, this action here. Like let me.
Yeah, I see that.
Whatever.
That's exactly it right there, Tucker. That's exactly it.
We didn't even get really down there, but this, maybe this is your first First little pullback before.
Is log on these or no?
No.
You're talking to Tucker, man. You know log's not on.
Oh my god,
No.
man. Grandpa freaking charts. Here we go.
Grandpa charts.
Can't show the extremes.
You can't be talking about grandpa charts now, Will.
Grandpa charts, bro. I'm telling you. From one grandpa to another. No, I'm not a grandpa, but maybe if JB has a kid one day, I'll be a grandpa.
There you go. There she is. There she is. Your first pullback into your distribution, and then obviously you know what happened to Bitcoin. That was like the top, but that goes into 2025. Fits my bias. I like it.
Yeah, I see the structural similarities there for sure.
Like this move for MicroStrategy was way more aggressive, honestly, than Bitcoin was back here, and it didn't retest the high, right? It was above. But
hey, question for you. What are Bitcoin miner stocks doing? Because they low-key have been leading. They've been leading Bitcoin a little bit. Like I've noticed that during pullbacks, kind of anecdotally, right? I don't track it super closely, but I've noticed that, when Bitcoin miner stocks have been pumping and Bitcoin's been chilling out, Bitcoin typically perks up after. So
yeah, so this would be, let's just look at Bitcoin. Look at this little range.
Let me ask you a question, Max. How left curve do you think it is for people to sit here and look at Bitcoin and be like, oh, we're gonna top at 100K when we literally topped at like 70 last cycle?
Hang on.
Say that again, Will. Sorry.
So like a lot of people are saying that we're gonna top at 100K when we topped at 70K last cycle. What are your thoughts on that? I think
that'd
like
be a pretty weak
ridiculous
bull market to not even get 2x above the previous all-time high.
That's
But
what I'm saying.
I mean, something would have to go absolutely wrong. It's not my base case. Let's put it that way. It's not my base case.
So CleanSpark bottomed here, and that was right there. Bitcoin had a little further to fall. Right, Bitcoin had another 7% to go. I mean, it's not pumping today, but Bitcoin's selling off more. But
how does can you pull up like Mara too? Like let's look at a couple and just see.
Because
that rallied hard off the low there, man. That CleanSpark chart looks good. I'm not in the camp that CleanSpark chart would go on to make a new low after setting the most recent one. And in my opinion, there is something to be said about Bitcoin miner stocks at least leading a little bit. We could set up like a pair trade on here and look at like Bitcoin CleanSpark, and it would probably tell us everything we need to know.
Yeah.
But I mean, we could just look at it like this too. Like I don't really see CleanSpark rolling over here. I think the structure looks good. I think it looks healthy. I don't think Mara looks bad either. I don't think MicroStrategy looks bad either. And Bitcoin, you can't just look at Bitcoin alone now. Like it's too intertwined with these other, kind of legacy tickers, being Bitcoin miner, the Bitcoin mining industry, as well as MicroStrategy and all the ETFs. Looking at Bitcoin alone, I think it's too the spider web is too expansive now. So again, I look at this and I just go, how do you reconcile Bitcoin going on to make a significant new low and Bitcoin miner stocks structure continuing to print, a bullish one and moving up? I can't really make sense of that. What does make sense to me is everything kind of holds here above support, including MicroStrategy, CleanSpark, Mara, Bitcoin, everything. Altcoins probably get low-key eviscerated while everything sits here and chills. But then everything kind of, reaccumulates and moves back up together. So I don't know.
Can we nuke the contract address in the comments?
Oh Jesus. Yeah. See you, buddy.
Dude, all these freakish OX whatever, just like looking at Andy being like, oh, he could do a quick money grab because look how well it went for them. It didn't go well because the contract for Andy was, OX68. That's fun. That's nice. It makes sense. But it's gone well because we recruited 10,000 holders in 3 weeks, and we got listed on 7 centralized exchanges during that period of time. Like, that's why it's gone well, not just because there's a contract that got popped up that's one away from Pepe. Like, the narrative is there, that's great, but it's careful about these fucking money grabs, guys. Like, I've literally seen like 100 of them pop up in the past couple days with people just trying to grift off of the success that Andy's had so far. Like, just be careful. Like, I love shit coining as well, but like, try to put a little bit of thought into like what's actually making a project successful and stand the test of time versus just like some guy deploying a contract and being like, this is the new thing. Oh my gosh, look at it. It's got a number. Come on, man. There's a lot more that goes into it than that. And they all know it. So just be careful. And if someone drops a comment on our YouTube stream here with some weird contract, don't buy it. Just don't buy it. I don't care what it is, don't buy it. Just ignore them, okay? They're probably trying to scam you. But anyways, back to the conversation.
Yeah, we've been getting so many meme shills in the comments lately, man. It's been crazy.
I mean,
But
it's okay to show memes. You can't be dropping contracts or you're getting banned. It just is what it is.
yeah, you're not going to use our platform to show your bags. Only we can do that.
You can ask about something, ask us to look at the chart, but like, don't drop your contracts trying to get people to jump into. Were you able to nuke that, Tucker, or no?
Oh yeah, we banned him. Don't worry.
I mean, JB, it's called BB's platform, and if you want to show your own bags, make your own platform.
Well, I think the difference there, JB, just to address that, is my intention with Andy was if I put my name and my reputation on a project that I'm bullish on and a thesis I'm bullish on, I do everything in my power, all above board, ethically, transparently, with a strong moral backbone to it, to do what I can within my power to help them succeed, which is why I've done everything I've done. It's why I've been hosting spaces for them. It's why I helped them raise $700,000 from the community and middlemanning the transactions to keep it safe in order to further centralize exchange listings. It's why I personally put in $300,000 of my own money, right? So the difference there is you can verify that I'm actually doing what I set out to do and I said I was going to do, right? It's not just a ticker, right? I'm actually doing what I'm doing and you can verify it. The difference is some of these guys are totally anonymous and they say they're going to blow this thing up and it's going to be huge, and they drop some contract that has similarities to another one that's doing well, and then they don't actually do anything, and they just kind of sell into the initial pump strength and the hype. And that's the difference, right? So like, what's the difference? Well, the difference is that I'm actually doing what I can, and you can verify that I'm working hard with the community to try to build out something that will last a long time. Where these other ones, maybe some of them you can verify and you should put your money in. I don't know what they are. But that would be the difference, is that when I talk about something like Andy, the hours, the money, the time that has gone into it has yielded results. And a lot of these day one projects that just pump, I'm not so confident that they're going to be here even 4 weeks from now. So that's the difference, But if you can verify that, these contracts are legitimate and the holder distribution is equitable and you're not going to get dumped on day one or day two, and they're actually going to try to build something out, then you should invest in them. But I don't know what those are. That's the difference.
BTC Clean Spark, man.
You guys see this comment?
Interesting chart. Sleeping pill or a laxative? Yeah,
it's a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Oh man,
the internet index. Oh, okay, I know what he's talking about.
And I just want to throw it out there. Like, there's a difference between like throwing a name of a coin in the comments and throwing a contract in. Like, people will throw contracts in that are literal, just like link. It's their wallet address, right? Like, you're sending money directly to their wallet address, or it's a honeypot. Like, we're not gonna watch people get wrecked that way. So, That's why we like really adamant against contracts specifically. But if you want to talk about it, going, feel free. It's a free platform.
Well, anyways, let's get back to a constructive discussion. What are we looking at here? Bitcoin CLSK. Would you throw up just a spot Bitcoin chart below that so we can see the differences?
Yeah,
That looks like that tether dominance chart, doesn't it? A little bit.
the tether
Let's
dominance
get the
chart.
Wu Manchu out of the way.
Does it?
No, we need that.
It kind of does, low key, like a
Oh, I
condensed
see it.
version of it.
Log.
Yeah, that's interesting there. Maybe it's coincidence. I don't know.
Have we looked at Coinbase stock in a while? That'd be pretty.
We haven't.
interesting to look at.
Not in a while.
See, that's another one that I forgot to mention. With like we were talking about miners, we were talking about MicroStrategy.
Coinbase stock would be interesting to see how that's rearing up.
I think he's talking about a shitcoin though, Will. But we're gonna humor him and we're gonna look at the actual Coinbase stock.
Exactly.
Oh wow.
Yeah. See.
Yeah, I mean these look like reaccumulation patterns to me. They do. Like structure looks good, and like look at if you were to go left on the Coinbase chart, Tucker, like to that whole like bottom consolidation for that complacency shoulder, the underside of that complacency shoulder right there.
Yeah.
Like if you were to draw a line right there, man, like this is a big level, you know, and it looks like we've kind of had at this point reacceptance back into that level as of right now.
Yeah. That looks nice. I like that. I like that. Yeah, I mean, this is just like a bull market for coin, right? Like, you know, you're just going to continue to get just that.
Yeah. And it's an uptrend, right? It's a stair step. That's what it is.
Yeah,
which is actually really healthy too.
Yeah, I would try not to overthink this. If I were y'all. Simple.
Daily structure, Tucker, with Bitcoin with the bull flag, it's almost perfect. You're falling right into the range. It looks really good. I have my green range low right at where you were saying. I'm at 63,165 is where I want to see it hold. If it breaks below that, we're going back to the low. We're going to go resweep the lows. But that's my last line in the sand.
Yeah, these lows. I want to see these lows protected.
Definitely.
If not, yeah, we're coming back to get these.
If you put it on a daily, that actually shades up a lot better in that area.
I think how we approach the low is going to mean a lot too, because if we're just chopping down into the low again, rather than like, you know, one candle to get down there, I think that's a much more positive sign as well, that the momentum to the downside is dissipating and you're probably about to begin curling up. And then, you know, I saw somebody in the comments mention it, like comparing it to last summer where we had like that really extended, I mean, at this point we can call it a bull flag, right? But at the time it was just this god awful bearish chop from 25 to 31K that lasted 4 to 5 months. And, you know, if we're going to do something similar to that, obviously, you know, you'd prefer that we kind of chop and grind our way down into the low rather than just, you know, getting there in one candle. I think that would be a sign that the structures and behavior are kind of similar in timing.
I kind of agree. I feel like you could still one candle this down. You just have to stop at support. You literally have to stop there. And if you stop there and you one candle this down, it's a possibility of still holding.
They are also selling it today.
You'd want to see divergences in the structure of altcoins if Bitcoin made a new low. You mentioned it yesterday, Will, like altcoins making slightly higher lows, or, you know, anything that would signal divergence against Bitcoin.
And here's the thing, like after this drops, wherever we think it finds a low, like I would be interested in going back and revisiting Sol and these other ones and see how those divs are actually still, if they're still holding, right? Which actually, if you could pull up Sol real quick, can you look at that div right now as Bitcoin is dropping and see if that's been structurally broken?
Sol?
Yeah. It wasn't a lot of time, right, that we were looking at, but it was a good amount. And maybe put like Bitcoin on a second screen right next to that. So like do a duo panel.
Yeah, I got you. What do you want to look at here?
So it was a small area, kind of where you are right there on Sol. Remember, we were looking at that, and then go over to Bitcoin and draw the drawdown from that same area.
You're gonna have to be much more specific.
So where's the lowest candle on Sol where you started that uptrend trend line? Yeah, put your candle.
Oh, you're talking about that.
Yeah. So on Bitcoin, do the same thing, and it looks like we're actually holding it too. I don't think we go deeper on Bitcoin here. I actually think we're going to form a higher low, but I think altcoins signaled here the reversal, right? And so altcoins reversal here to what Bitcoin was doing at the lows there, I think that will be support for altcoins. As long as we can hold that trend line that you're identifying right there on Sol, I think in that scenario, we'll probably be looking for a bounce on Bitcoin also in that same range. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So wherever alts bottom to trend is where I would expect Bitcoin to bounce. If alts don't bottom there and they break this trend, the whole structure's effed. And at that point, this is all invalidated. And now we have to come back to the drawing board and look for altcoins to ultimately bleed hard against Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You need that uptrend structure to hold. You have to add that to hold. If that doesn't hold, altcoins are going to get obliterated on the next pullback for Bitcoin.
Well, it's probably going to be a case-by-case basis, I think, with a lot of these alts. You've kind of already seen over the last few days, some alts are catching bids, some are not. And it's pretty apparent which ones are not versus obviously which ones are. Pepe been catching a bid for the last few days. WIF did look weak, but it caught a huge bid today. It's been kind of casually uptrending on a lower time frame, and it's holding up pretty well through this Bitcoin dump so far. So I would probably classify, I'd probably continue to classify meme coins as far as like the coins that people are going to continue to bid first off the lows. But after, when you get kind of deeper into the high FDB tokens, it gets a little bit sketchier to identify those outperformers.
Yeah, I think WIF looks good here. I like this little uptrend. I think you just got to hold that, and then you can probably go back to the highs. I mean, that's a decently important level.
Was WIF playing against Bitcoin in the same general area as like what Sol was? Could you check that out? Did it do a panel again?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, let's see.
I think WIF a little better than Sol.
Yeah, but I just want to see how these trends are playing out.
Yeah, it did.
Okay, so it did bull dip against again. So use that as kind of like it. I would say like any coin that did this against Bitcoin at the low, like use that as like your substantial. Will it hold or is it effed, right? And if it can hold that trend through this drawdown on Bitcoin, then you're probably in a very bullish coin versus like looking at this like, oh, I need to get out of everything and wait for this drop to finish. Because those coins, I think, will bounce back the hardest. The ones that are bull diving against Bitcoin.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good little. What would Jacka say? Intermarket analysis.
There are ones that are showing weakness in that area, but there's quite a few that are actually showing strength here. And it's not, as we can see, it's not just on Sol. WIF did the same thing here in some meme coin.
But Will, didn't you see the head and shoulders on WIF, brother? It's over.
Yeah, okay.
Completely over.
The hilarious part is it will be here, Tucker. If this thing comes back to trend and goes straight up, then your head and shoulders is fucked. And if you're shorting this, you're wrecked. You are obliterated.
Real.
You never short a head and shoulders until you come back to break. And you need to validate that breakdown. So you would have to come all the way back down to 2 and then go under 2, then retest 2 from the underside, and then you could short that thing. You got a long ways from trying to open a short here. Like if you try to open a short here, you're asking for pain.
Yeah. No, I do not recommend shorting whiff here. For sure.
But yeah, this like this is the key. That one little area there, Tucker, that's where I would say look at that on any coin you're in. If it's doing that against Bitcoin, pull that all the way up, and as long as you hold that trend, no matter how much Bitcoin drops, you're good. But if you invalidate that trend, expect pain in that altcoin.
In times of chop like this, I mean, I know a lot of people hate doing it, but if you do trade perps, like just pair trading strong against weak coins will probably go a long way, I would imagine. In these sort of conditions where you're having there's kind of like a group of coins that are pumping a lot, obviously because they're squeezing shorts and mean reverting and getting these super aggressive bearish retests. There are also coins that are pumping because the underlying spot bid on them is much stronger than something, like the VC scams, for example. So I do think pair trading weak coins against strong ones you can't really go wrong with a strategy like that. Most people will obviously, and this is kind of why I said most people don't like to do it, because most people will muck up the execution. But if there's going to be any, bear chop or chop in general, it's probably a winning strategy over, if you get your time frames right.
Yeah.
What do we think about ETH here? I had to ask.
About ETH?
Look, I'm not even gonna cap on ETH. Like, I am not bullish. I'm not bullish, but I'm not sorry. I'm not bearish at all on ETH, bro. Like, most of my plays are honestly on base. It's been really solid playing over there.
Well, I think you can be bullish on these without being bullish on ETH. It's kind of an interesting dynamic in a way.
Yeah, for sure. But you're always expecting that beta to play real beta, right? And that means that ETH has to bid. Otherwise, it's not really beta. It's a stable coin.
Well, yeah. It's like, if you want beta, you can go a lot farther down the risk curve than ETH, So then it's like, all right, what are we doing with the ETH here?
If you're talking a lot further down the risk, I would say go Solana. But look at ETH in comparison to Bitcoin. It's holding its center line.
Yeah, it is. Which is more than one could say about Bitcoin. This channel is a lot steeper to the downside though than Bitcoin's.
Yeah, but the more steeper a bull flag is, the more bullish it can be. Also,
yeah, but I don't know. I wouldn't call it a bull flag at this point. Like
it's not really invalidated.
I just call it a complex pullback, guys. Complex pullback,
brother.
It's a complex pullback.
I did see a really interesting tweet about ETH Bitcoin, and it's not based in any technicals, but I would say the biggest right tail on ETH USD right now is it's kind of funny. It's actually Gary Gensler resigning from the SEC.
I saw that tweet as well, Tommy.
I think that's like I hadn't even thought about that, honestly, but that is a pretty decent, if you are trying to short ETH, which, it has been a better short than Bitcoin, for example. Maybe not quite as good as some other alts for beta, but if you are shorting ETH, I think you do need to be aware of that possibility. Not to say that it's likely that Gary Gensler resigns or that I have any insider information that that's going to happen. But like, if he does, man, you probably would see a God candle on ETH Bitcoin. And it would be very similar, I would imagine, to last year when you had the whole XRP announcement when Bitcoin went from like 25 to 31K. ETH outperformed, altcoins outperformed. And then I want to say they all kind of like Burj Khalifa those pumps within a day or two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did indeed.
And then we kept chopping, and it was awful.
It was awful. Yeah.
But it did reignite the on-chain market when it was dead. So maybe something to just keep in the back of our minds.
Yeah, I mean, the on-chain market's been not bad at all recently, honestly. Hasn't been terrible. Yeah, ETH probably hangs out in this little. I've been liking these little, like, watch this. You guys aren't even ready for this. Boom. Yeah, that's the area. Little polyline action. You guys wouldn't get it. You guys wouldn't understand. One of these. There you go.
Yeah, that's how I would imagine a lot of things will play. If they do play bearish, they'll play the top half of that mid range.
Mm-hmm.
They won't come back down to the lows, in my opinion. A lot of these are just they're too bullish right now. What do you think, Max, on this discussion?
I like Tucker's little green shaded area right there, man. I think that's the sweet spot as Bitcoin is kind of uncertain. And then I think, again, you May 1st through May 8th, you flip that white line, send it back above 4,000 with haste, man. But I don't want it to pump until we get a fresh monthly open, man. I don't want it. It's not good.
I know. Where was the monthly open on ETH? That's a good question. Let's get rid of this. Monthly open, wow. All the way up at 3650-ish. Make it exact. 3645 monthly open. Yeah, I think you gotta have a candle like this for ETH. I think you gotta. That's fine.
I'm just buying this Andy dip right now. I don't mean to be distracted, but this is like
Same here. I was buying dips too.
I'm buying this thing.
Making some stimmy.
Bro,
I'm trying to
oh my god, 0.59. Wow, that's a scoop, bro.
Dude, I got a little bit filled there, but I'm trying to get more ETH to just shove right now before this 4-hour candle closes because it's literally getting scooped up. So I don't mean to be distracted, but when opportunity presents itself, you know, fuck, I'm like waiting on my ETH to. I'm pulling some out right now, and I need. It's just taking forever, man. I'm trying to withdraw it from a lending protocol just so I can shove it. God, they're bidding it up. Please stop right now. I want to get it below 90. This was your like Pepe capitulatory low, you know, the one we were talking about on the beginning of the show, where you basically just have like a complete like capitulation and then it just like rebounds, you know. So I don't know. I'm really trying to bid this thing right now. I already got a little bit, but I don't mean to be distracted while we're live, but I didn't expect it to happen right here. So,
bro, I had the same thing happen on the one I've been talking about, the Discord that we got the W on. Yeah, with the dog thing, you know, we don't have to name it, but I'm just like, holy shit! When I saw that tip, I was like, I need it.
Dude, you have to know when to strike. Gosh, I need this, dude. I don't know.
Can we nuke that comment again, Tucker?
Why is this taking so long, man? Oh my gosh! All right, hang on. I'm just gonna shove. Forget it. I've got some available. I'm just gonna shove. There's gonna be some slippage, but I'm doing it. I'm not fucking waiting. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Hang on.
Do you see the comment, Tucker? Can you nuke and delete that?
I already did. Well, I already did.
Okay. I didn't see on my end. My bad.
Of course.
Stimmy. Gotta love it.
You guys aren't even ready for this chart, man.
Oh, the carrot chart.
Yeah, man. Bottoms in. Send it. Send it higher.
No, that'll find the bottom. That'll find the bottom.
Oh yeah, baby.
letting all the VCs get their share before it bottoms.
Let all the airdroppers just jeet. That's what's happening.
I can't get my fucking ETH to load, man. This is literally a joke. I'm trying so hard to bid right now. I can't get it to work. Someone loaned me some ETH right now, man. This is literally a joke. I don't know. Oh, my VPN on my phone is on, so it's literally just like not loading. Damn it, man.
There's another one, Tucker. Go ahead and take care of that one too.
I was like, why is this site so slow? All right, well, we'll see. Maybe we can get 80 again.
Why do people want Tucker to work so hard? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. Okay. Why do you guys want this?
It's always Tucker. Pull this up for me. Pull that up for me.
Choose violence, bro.
It is, man. It is.
Choose violence. We already make him work hard enough, but now you guys are making him work by deleting all of your stuff and banning you.
He just asked, "What's the current Andy contract address? Is that one the right one?"
Looks like it.
You got to be careful with innocence. I would still nuke the comment. They can simply ask.
I can drop it in the comments if you guys
That's
want.
right. He's right. I just looked at it. Yeah.
I'm gonna drop it just because if there's like one letter off or something, I don't want someone getting.
That's
rugged.
what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
This is the one we just posted. Is the real one confirmed?
Real Patriots confirmed.
I was trying so hard to shove that thing before the 4-hour close, and I couldn't get it done, man. Unreal. Absolutely unreal. I mean, people got it though. I'm happy that some people got it. Some people hit me up and they caught the knife, and they're like, "Dude, I just got filled."
Oh man!
I would have sent you some ETH, but all my stuff's currently sitting in dumpsters.
That's a good lesson, because I need to have more ETH sitting like just there, ready to go. Because I wasn't ready for that. Like I had it kind of locked up, so I had to like wait on a protocol to get it, and then my VPN was messing with me. So whatever, all good.
That was a nice little dip, huh?
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. Like I am fully. If you're bearish, I'm backing you right now. I need this thing to drop more. I need more entries.
Well, they might come. Let's pull up an old favorite. Curve.
Good old curve.
I beat the curve drum again because it did not bounce.
All right. It did not bounce.
It is team no bounce.
Jesus Christ.
Smash that. Just so you know, Smash, that only matters if you're in prison. Okay.
Oh man, oh man.
That's the only time that matters.
Tucker, I don't think the comments like your background.
Hmm?
I don't think the comments like your background.
What'd
You
they
need to
say?
know his background like me.
Why does Haggard have a background look like he's in a skyscraper in New York? Oh, what? Oh, wow. I didn't even notice that all the way back there.
Oh,
He said I didn't even
Oh,
notice.
these are the BB corporate offices, okay? I don't know what you think is going on, but
Oh man.
yeah.
Who's going to save this chart, man?
FTX is
why
going
would
to
you
save
say
it.
it can bleed in
Let
perpetuity,
it
right?
die, man. Yeah, let it die.
I'm not
Michael
even
liquidated again.
I'm not even super familiar with how like curve works anymore. Like I haven't even looked at it since last cycle. But you get paid a yield in CRV. Isn't there a pretty big incentive to just sell it?
Well, people just loop. You know how people do ETH DeFi? They just loop leverage and yields on top of each other over and over and over again. Did you guys see what happened with the Renzo ETH? That it's like a liquid staking derivative.
What did they do? What did they do again?
I don't even know what happened, but the liquid staking ETH that people were farming depegged by like 75%.
You got to take advantage of those opportunities.
From Pendle or whatever.
I don't know if it was. I think it was Renzo. Yeah, there was the one with the funny pie chart. The one with the funny pie chart. Hasaka was tweeting about it a little bit. I know, but I mean, basically all their tokens were going to to like investors and VCs and stuff like that. But their liquid staking ETH or whatever I don't remember exactly. Maybe it was like Easy ETH or something like that. Was the cash tag? It literally went down 80%. And so if you were farming points with any leverage at all, you got wiped.
So quick question. I've seen this guy come in a couple times. I can't read his name. His name's I Love K Drain, I think. He's asked about Redo for a couple days. Can we pull up Redo for him? And I don't know what this is. I'll be real, but like I figured we can entertain him since he's been asking for a couple days.
Redo. I don't know if it's on.
What are you talking? Which comment?
REDO. It looks like a Chinese name.
No, it's on. I don't know if it's on TradingView. I kind of doubt that it's on TradingView. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm sure it's on Dex.
Is it on Dex? Yeah, I was gonna say, is there a lot of history on Dex? Or I mean, I don't know if it's brand new. Like I would. No, it's not worth entertaining. But
it's not.
If it's on Dex and it's got history, it might be worth looking at. Resistance dog. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't. We probably shouldn't pull a Dex screener on YouTube. Just as a.
What's the market cap?
Low, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
It's high. It's high. I know it's high. It's on.
If it's like above, I mean, if it's like reasonable, that's fine, right? It's just, I don't really know what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
what our line should be is just if it's on TradingView, we'll look at it. I don't care what the market cap is, but if I have to go to Dex screener, no.
We've been over to Dex screener though.
Yeah,
that's
I know. All right.
If it's super micro, we won't pull it. But like, I think we should.
I don't know what it is though. Like, I literally don't know what it is. Like, can you share what it is? Like, I don't even know what's.
It's Redo. It's a
Redo
resistance dog. It's the coin on Telegram blockchain.
Susu's giving it the thumbs up, man.
It's a big it's what's the market cap? 68 mil, is that right?
Oh, it's the Telegram meme coin. Okay.
It's the Telegram.
No, I know Crash was into that. I think he still is. I think I've seen him post about it.
Yeah, let's pull that.
It's right now.
If it's the Telegram meme coin, I think we should pull it up because like you didn't want to fake DJ.
I got it pulled up here. I'll share.
The primary SocialFi tokens are Ton, Degen, and DMT, but obviously Frentech is releasing as well here pretty soon, supposedly.
This is Redo Resistance Dog. I don't know what these wicks are, but that's
Why does the chart look like cubic?
Yeah,
you see that?
Just see market making it.
Dude, it literally looks like cubic. The same chart. That's literally what I thought you just pulled up.
Yeah. I mean, basic.
What's that RSI look like? Let me see the RSI.
Can you even? Yeah, I guess you can.
You guys see the liquidity on that?
What is it? What's a lick on it?
71K.
Oh
wait,
God.
Is this wrong? Somebody tell me this is wrong.
That has to be wrong. That has to be wrong with that.
This
liquidity.
is definitely wrong.
Check out a different contract.
Liquidity 1.4K.
I think it's real, man.
Okay, get that.
No way.
I think it is real. Wow, man.
That's why I asked.
Chat, is there any dude, how does this thing?
We should probably change it back to TradingView.
Yeah, let's go back to TradingView.
This is
what happened. Told me that
on Dex screener, bro.
But that's why we asked. If you'd have told me 71K, I'd have been like, "No, we're not looking at that." But,
well,
sorry, audience. We can't do it. It's just too low. It's way too low.
Wow, that might be one of the lowest ratios.
But like we can only go off what Dex screener tells us, so.
That might be the lowest ratio I've ever seen, personally.
Yeah,
that can't be right, man. There's something we're missing, dude.
Gabe is saying it's wrong. We believe you guys. Is just like if we pull it up and it says 71K and it dumps tomorrow, they're gonna blame us.
Someone said on Gecko Terminal, they said it's wrong. They said on Gecko Terminal it shows up, whatever. Well, anyways, chart looks good. I'm happy to know that there's more liquidity, but we don't need to dive into it. Let's look at whiff, guys. I want to look at whiffski. Little whifferoni.
Little whiffski.
Little
Don't say
whifferoni.
Wait, no, go to this chart. Beauty. Again, I think this level is big, right? Just above these highs.
What was the pullback percentage from the high there on that, from the high to the capitulation wick?
Yeah.
I feel like whiff is going to end up doing what's
60.
sold in the summer of 2021.
60.
So again, this is a prime example, guys, of a strong coin having a capitulatory wick to the downside, and a coin that's been up, 10x plus in a short period of time, correcting 50, 60, 70%, and it's met with a pretty prompt buyback, in the coming days. Volatility works both ways. And in my opinion, we just saw something like that happen with Andy, where we saw a capitulation wick at a pretty prompt and aggressive buyback, where we dipped 60% from the high, and now it's up. I mean, measured from the low of that wick, right now it's already up 44% from the low, so it's like, if there's demand, you see things like that.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
We talked about Mog, we talked about Pepe. Yeah.
Holy. 56. Wow.
Just a flash wick, bro.
Not bad at all. 161.
What was the
respected though? Next
Somebody
time.
beat it a
Can
good
you
bit.
change the color of that? That blends in with your black background.
Of
The
the
1.618. Yeah, the 1.618. Just make it like, something like that, just so we can see it.
I like this.
But yeah, man, that's kind of textbook, man. We filled in. So if you go to the daily chart, if you look at we filled in the last daily FVG unmitigated just now. Perfect little fill right there.
Right there, yeah.
Filled that in. And we also, if you go to like the 2 hour or something like that, and you draw a lifetime, or at least on this recent pump, draw a volume profile.
Did you see the balloons, Max? They did it
I
again.
did, yeah. Draw a volume profile. Start where like the pump began, not like
but look at that. We just pulled.
That's nice too. But draw like from like where
this pump
to
or
the left, like even right a little bit more.
Right here.
Like right there. Point of control, bang.
Bro. Wow.
And I was scrambling to get my ETH unlocked to shove, and I literally couldn't get it done, bro. But I will buy here. I will be buying around here. So
yeah.
It's kind of what we were looking for, honestly, man. Like, I know it's not fun, but low key, it's kind of what all the meme coins, the strong ones have been doing. They just jeet to high time frame support, and then hold, and then slowly work their way back up. So
yeah. Let's see. Yeah, you just gotta break this, whatever the hell this is, man. You just gotta.
I think the capitulation typically is kind of what breaks that up,
Yeah.
That's what we've seen. So
yeah, let's see. Yeah, I mean, now you really shouldn't go below here. Right. Should hold that for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Huge volume on this 1 hour candle, man. Just absolutely huge.
Was it? I don't even have
7-figure plus volume in a 1 hour candle.
I don't know what that's doing down there. What is this? Just on the ETH pair? What chart do you look at? Do you look at a certain exchange?
I'm on Dex Screener. Yeah, the contract here is different than the one on Dex Screener.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Huge, man. Kind of epic. Like I love an event like that, you know. Like I love just like that Saturday when everything when everything was pulling back because there was some turbulence in the Middle East, and like Bitcoin and ETH were just like in free fall, you know. ETH was under 2,900. It's always exciting, right? Like the pumps are more fun, but it's always entertaining to just like have crazy volatility both ways. Like you kind of have to love it, you know. And truthfully, I appreciate when we can just like we can basically just rip it off like a band-aid, you know, on anything. Like the Pepe dump that we just had, that was 63%. It's like just rip it off, like clear it out, like touch your levels, like let people fill their stink bids, and then like let's get the show on the road. I always appreciate that, you know. And like ETH sub 3,000, you know, sub 2,900, it's like, yeah, you know, rip it off like a band-aid, man. Like get the slow bleed over with. Like let's get our there's no better, you know, mark of like a bottom than just like a true capitulation wick after like a slow grind down. And that's again what we saw with Pepe. It's what we saw with WIF, low key what we saw with ETH, you know, a couple Saturdays ago. So
yeah,
we saw it with MOG too. We talked about MOG in the beginning of the show. Like these capitulatory wicks are unironically bullish, you know, like they typically mark the end of a bleed, you know, or end of a pullback. So you got to let the books rebalance a little bit. Like it shakes things up. Like we'll move up, we'll move down a little bit, but typically it's what you want to see, you know. You want to see that like final, like you want to see the climax, you know.
yeah, no, I agree. Damn,
Someone just said Bitcoin just filled CME from the weekend and now bouncing. Is that true? Can we pull up the Bitcoin CME chart? I didn't even know we had a CME gap right here.
Yeah, I didn't either. Yeah, we did.
Oh, we totally did. Yeah, you're right.
We filled it perfectly too.
You're right. You're totally right. Great call there.
Oh, wow.
I didn't even notice we had that. I don't know why. I usually notice those, but
Yeah,
I totally missed that.
Draw the Bart Simpson.
No, the CME gap fill, Tommy. The bottom's in. All right.
No, I know that's a Bart right there. It's a small one, but that's a Bart.
It's a baby Bart.
Yeah, you mean just
Bart Simpson.
Your Bart candles, I bet, look nice on the big volume. Yeah. Look at this. Look at those volume candles. Hilarious.
Little Bart. I'm just praying that's not the type of volatility we get to look forward to for the next few months. Oh, yeah. Heaven help us if that is.
Yeah, I hope not too, man. What else you guys want to look at?
A request for Orca. I think that's
Orca, the Soul Dex.
I think so.
Let's see. It's probably got an old chart on Gate. Yeah, it's an old chart.
Failed half pipe, low key.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I just don't know. I mean, I wouldn't buy it. I mean, looks like it's putting in another lower high, probably.
Let's look at SPOOs before we wrap up.
Probably just do this. Oh, what do you know? What do you think about that, Tommy?
I'd be down. I think that's probably. I mean, that's literally a replica of last summer, which is kind of becoming more and more of a
bottom in June
at this point. I don't know what it means for Bitcoin, but other than the fact that if you're a vol shorter, you're going to have a good time probably, unless there's something systemic, which, you know, how can you really bet on that?
Yeah, I just remember.
Real quick before we continue, we're going to play a little game this morning because people like to F around and find out.
I
If
like
by
that.
the time Max goes and looks at YouTube, we're not at 100 likes, which
Oh
should take
my.
him a couple minutes,
Oh.
then we're going to call the show here, and no
Wait,
more
are we not at
alpha.
100 likes right now?
I don't
Dude, are you
know.
serious?
I actually haven't even looked.
I haven't looked. I've been busy trying to get my damn ETH unlocked so I can bid this. Oh, we're at 119. I mean, thank
Okay.
God. Thank
Okay.
God. But
All right. I just want to make sure.
that's still
We
not
would've had a
good, but thank
problem.
God.
Yeah, we would have had a problem.
Would
I
have been
might have
totally
just
valid.
yanked the show permanently if that was the case. Man.
That's over. I kind of like this. I kind of like this, man. Tighten her up a little.
So how much more time do we owe them for 119 likes? Just out of curiosity.
None, bro. We've been going for over an hour.
I mean, I don't even think that's like what, 2 likes a minute. What's our viewership right now?
I don't know. We have 275 on YouTube. Well, 275 on YouTube.
Damn, we can't even get 3/4 of the views.
I just got this banger new coffee from Costco, guys. It's fantastic.
What is it?
I don't know the brand. It's like, I mean, it's a K cup because I'm not a coffee purist, but it's good. I like it. I rock with it. Costco's got good stuff, man. We talked about that on this show before.
Costco has fantastic stuff. Yeah, that's not up for debate.
That's
the K cups are up for debate. Though.
Look, we need to stop dropping alpha. All right. Our like buttons do not support letting them know what the better coffee is, what the current charts are, anything.
We are avid Costco appreciators, though. I will say that much.
Kirkland signature, baby. Kirkland signature.
It is the premier.
It is. It is the premier. That sounded like a catchphrase, Will.
We need the sponsor. We need the sponsor. Kirkland, if you guys are listening, we're willing to show your stuff. Just pay us.
Oh yeah, I'll wear a Kirkland signature sweatshirt on every show, for sure.
I'll show Costco for sure, man.
Even if you raise the price of your hot dogs, we'll show.
Well,
What do we think about the VIX here, guys? And then I promise we can actually wrap up after that.
Pull it up.
VIX, eh?
VIX is going to 0, bro. We talked about this, Tommy.
God,
we talked about this.
Don't worry about it, Tommy.
It went the opposite direction of his.
Is that the Mog fractal?
Maybe.
Is that the Mog fractal
Yeah.
that we put on that like 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Oh my
look
God.
at that. It's working, man.
Do you remember me telling Tommy it's not going anywhere? And he's like, this is where it shoots up when we made the fractal out.
I said it bottomed, and it did bottom.
Well, we made this fractal and said this is what it's going to do, and that's what it did.
I remember
the VIX spikers are the same as the ETH bottom callers.
Chicken Little.
Yeah. Every time the VIX moves up a little bit, this is it. This is finally the spike over 40 is coming. This is it. 3 years later.
I will say I did see, if you guys know who Chris Sidial, I think that's how you say his last name. He's like that Vol Quant guy on Twitter. He's one of the few people who can talk about derivatives on equities, and I'll actually like listen to what he has to say. He was talking about the rate that they sold volatility after like last week was unlike anything he'd ever seen. So like you have people out of Vol right now.
Yeah.
So I do think if there is any actual tail risk that arises, which it's called tail risk for a reason, it's unlikely, but people are not positioned for tail risk at the moment. People are still aggressively shorting volatility as hard as they ever have, which I think is just something to probably keep in mind, obviously, if the VIX is going to spike again.
I do. I keep it in mind for like 2 years from now. But I think at the looking at this, did anybody hear what Tommy just said? He said he doesn't listen to any of us. He only listens to that one guy. He doesn't care what we have to say.
Chem Carson, man.
I don't know if anybody caught that.
He's a Chem Carson enjoyer.
Oh,
I am a croissant enjoyer.
No, this is where a bounce hits that trend and rolls right back over again, Tucker. He's not getting his breakout.
I'm not betting on a breakout in volatility, but I'm just saying there are a lot of people shorting the crap out of volatility here.
I mean, over time, it makes sense to be short vol, right? Like,
yeah,
forever.
We discussed this, Tommy, literally in the beginning of 2023. I was like, vol's going to zero.
I mean, being
like,
long
you should look for the lows.
Short vol, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like, if you scroll out, Tucker, scroll out to like the whole history of vol. Just draw a line across your floor.
Volatility traders at the end of the day. You know, we're all trading some derivative of essentially what we're looking at right now. I think the thing I'm more getting at is, I mean, we all know someday it's going to happen again. Positioning is going to get skewed to a degree where the act of literally shorting volatility in structured products itself is going to cause systemic issues because of the way we've just kind of normalized collecting yield from shorting volatility as if it's another asset that you can invest in.
Here's the trick though, Tommy. Go ahead and you see that spike there in 2013, Tucker? I always try to call you by the name on here.
This one?
The highest spike, 2013. So
2013, there was not a high spike.
Or whatever that was. It's close to 2013.
Oh, 08?
Yeah, 08. So you see that high spike there? Now go ahead and draw a ruler from that high spike and draw all the way to your right to your next high spike. No, just before it.
I think he wants the length of time between the wicks.
There you go.
There you go. Ruler. 4150 days, 500.
All right, so we got a lot of days to short the VIX. That's all I'm saying. We got a lot of days to short this VIX. It can go down and down and down and down forever and ever.
Well, I could see it being like, I think we had a spike on the VIX in 1994 from some sort of turbulence with bonds. Could see it maybe being something similar to that degree.
It could definitely be one of the smaller ones, but the big one was COVID.
Progressively climbed as we did the tech bubble, but prices went up.
And yeah, Tucker, that's weekly, by the way. So that's how many weeks it sat there.
I will say, if this did show the full history on the VIX, these are not the all-time highs. The all-time high VIX spike was actually 150 in 1987.
Yeah, it doesn't go that far back. I mean, I don't even think that's comprehensible from here. But
the VIX closed at 36 the day before, and then the next day it went to freaking 150.
but what do you think of that downtrend there, Tommy, from 2008 to 2020?
I mean, I agree. I think the pace of which we're printing money accelerates cycles a little bit. So I don't know if we can necessarily predict when the next volatility spike will be. I would say the odds really don't favor it until 2025, but you know, we could always have something like 2018 Volmageddon. I remember that volatility positioning got super skewed, and eventually we traded significantly higher over the next 3 or 4 years, but the VIX did spike.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, even though we can look for a small spike here, which is what I would call it, because it's not going to be a 2008 event. Like you have so long. You have so long of this floor just continuing to become lower and lower. Could you draw a line across all the lows there, Tucker, too? Of the entire history.
I do agree with you, Will. Like, it's only natural over a long enough time horizon that the VIX is going to be increasingly suppressed and increasingly shoved into the ground, because you do have like all of these funds that are trying to collect extra yield from the market. So it's just becoming a more and more traded and liquid, you know, derivatives market in general for volatility. But I also do think that could lead to some reflexive spikes that, you know, we look back on maybe in like a few months that they were nothing, but at the time they were like, oh my God, we just saw some people low key get carded out.
Oh yeah, like, I mean, all those spikes in between the drawdown, those were all catastrophic events in most cases. So those can definitely occur. I think we're still at the point of still more drawdown. Honestly, Tucker, I'd pull that down a little more. I think we're still quite a bit over the floor. Yeah. Like I honestly, like if you look, even if you were to pull that, like you're still touching all the bottoms, and look how much more you have to go down. It's pretty crazy.
You think you come down here?
Like, yes, I do. Based on history.
Was that 9?
I do, bro.
There.
Can we catch a spike before that happens? Sure, but I definitely think we're gonna head down to that trend. It's a historical low that continues to get tested decade after decade.
You only get spikes like 2008 and 2020 when positioning is just like so egregiously skewed to one direction, not just in terms of volatility, short exposure, but also obviously long equities exposure, which is basically the same thing.
But that's what was hilarious with everybody predicting another 2008 scenario. It's like you got that in 2019, 2020. That's what your pandemic was. It was your 2008. And like people were expecting a second one back to back, but Vol was already saying that you're topped on Vol. You weren't going higher. You were basically retesting the 08 top, and you're sitting here calling for not you, but like the Bears were calling for another, a catastrophic event to occur. No, Vol is more spread out than a lot of people actually anticipate. It's usually a decade by decade, catastrophic event. One being 2008. 2 being the pandemic, and then 3, we'll get another one probably towards the end of this decade, whatever that may be.
But I don't think you need, a Vol spiking to 80 and above is like that is a once in a decade, once in like every 15-year type of event. But you don't need Vol to spike that high for equities to sell off meaningfully.
Oh,
right?
for sure.
Spikes into 30 and 40, they are possible, right? We acknowledge that, but those can take the indexes down, pretty good, even still, even if it's not like, ideally it's not a cataclysmic crash a la 2020 or 2008, 1987. You don't want to see, you really don't want to see that. But the S&P, you can look at the history, right? Like we have so many of these dips where, Vol probably did spike like 20, 30, 40, and the S&P had these like really sharp dips that ultimately get scooped up really quickly, but you can see them on the chart. So there's always a possibility. There's always something happening with geopolitics that is, worth paying attention to, but not, it's not going to be like the harbinger of doom necessarily either.
Yeah, I think it's people looking for opportunity. And I think if you're looking for the best opportunity, it's probably going to be towards the end of this decade. Like this is a great opportunity that we're in right now. But if you're looking for like the catastrophic event that you can really shove, it will be towards the end of this decade when everybody screams to get out. It'll be the bottom.
I just hope I'm owning enough Bitcoin when that happens to be fully protected. I gotta say, guys, I'm becoming like more and more of an actual Bitcoin maxi.
Same here, bro.
I just see how much is being printed this year, and it makes me think like I view Bitcoin more and more as like that hedge against government stupidity and government fraud, increasingly so.
Government stupidity and fraud.
Yeah.
I mean, look at spending, bro. Like they say we're irresponsible. Look at government spending. It's the most irresponsible shit I've ever seen.
It's an arms race to devalue all of your assets. And then when they can no longer afford to service their debt, they're going to end up taking your assets probably to try and pay off their debt, which makes me like there is a long-term value to holding Bitcoin strictly as a hedge against government stupidity and fraud. But not to get on any soapbox about it.
No, I mean, they can't take your money if they can't access it.
I think this is a pretty good spot to be wrapping up, though, guys. We've been going for about an hour and a half. Gave you guys a lot of commentary on all things equity markets, meme markets. We talked volatility. We talked Andy, everything in between. So we covered everything today. If you guys enjoyed the show, make sure to hit the like button on the way out. Like I said at the beginning of the show, we appreciate y'all's support, and obviously you've been a part of this growth just as much as our channel itself, right? So shout out to you guys, the audience, once again. Real quickly to plug the BB Academy, right, guys? I've been saying we have launched our trading, our educational course, the BB Academy. We have it at a very discounted price. Like I said yesterday, for you, my friend, I give very special price, but not for very long, not for much longer. We gave a halving discount. It's been offered for $199. That's something that interests you. I would seriously suggest pouncing on that deal because, quite frankly, the prices might even be raised next week. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to emphasize that one last time. I won't do it ever again. But just know the clock is ticking, that you can get this fantastic discount on the BB Academy. You can get material from every single person on the team, and obviously all of our unique niches within the way that we view these markets. So I think that part is probably the coolest or the most useful angle of BB Academy. Our programming, Market Check. If you enjoyed it, welcome to Market Check. If you didn't know that this was already called it, you are watching Market Check right now, but we are live every weekday, Monday through Friday in the morning. We have a start time around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As you guys can see, if this was your first time watching the show, we really do kind of cover pretty much everything, a wide variety of topics. All we ask is that you maybe hit the like button if you enjoyed the content. But we have a lot of fun on these shows. And yeah, it's like I said, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is typically when we get started on Market Check. Our flagship show, Market Talk, is a Twitter space hosted by the legendary King Wabi. We always have some really exceptional guests on that show. And they're similar in a way that they can talk about macro. They can talk about memes. The conversation is really dependent on who the speakers are, you know? So would definitely recommend tuning in for that as well. The timing may vary a little bit, but we always communicate it through our Twitter. So make sure to stay subscribed so you can be notified, not just when we schedule those spaces, but also when we go live. But that's it from us, guys. We hope you have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday, fantastic rest of your week. We'll be back tomorrow morning, ready to break down even more market alpha for you guys. We'll see where Bitcoin's trading at, but when that happens. But that's it from us, guys. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks again.